Another day, another dollar. You might not think money is something to sing and dance about, but don't worry, that's why I'm here. I'm Julie Beckham, the financial educator at Rockland Trust, and this is Behind the Curtain, Money Made Simple, the podcast that takes the mystery out of money and puts the spotlight on your financial life. If you've ever felt behind, confused, or just totally overwhelmed when it comes to your finances, you are not alone. In fact, you're part of a cast of thousands. So take your seat and silence your phones as we pull back the curtain on personal finance. Well, I am so excited. Welcome to Behind the Curtain, Money Made Simple. Our guest today is Dr. Ellie Paris-Miranda. I have to just say a little bit about finding out about Dr. Ellie Paris-Miranda. So I was just kind of like, I don't know, on social media or reading the Globe, and I happened to come across an article about a woman who started a bookstore focused on financial education and serves ice cream and yummy treats. I was like, what the heck? How did the algorithm while I was scrolling clearly knew who I was, because I just thought this is an angel sent down from heaven who is meant to meet me, because who does this? Who opens a bookstore focused on economic empowerment and then serves ice cream on the side? So Dr. Ellie Paris-Miranda, let me just introduce you and just say that as an assistant professor at Wheaton College, as a PhD, as an entrepreneur who has her MBA, you have done so much. And now what you're doing in Brockton, in one of our communities at Rockland Trust, is just outstanding. So please tell me a little bit about Dr. Ellie Paris Social Bookstore and Ice Cream Cafe.
Absolutely, Julie. Thank you so much for this very generous and kind introduction. Yeah, so I am honored to be a tenure-track professor of entrepreneurship here at Wheaton, a beautiful campus with beautiful, amazing, supportive people as well. And I recently opened the very first of its kind social impact bookstore and ice cream cafe that aims at fostering literacy, education, and upward economic mobility through the American dream ideals, one book, one scope, and one community at a time. It has been by far the most rewarding project, and I should be very honest, definitely a dream come true. I have always wanted to open a bookstore, but I was not expecting this amount of support. Very grateful for amount of love and support we have been receiving definitely from our Brockton community, but also from beyond Brockton. It has been a really generous and amazing experience, honestly.
Well, speaking of generous, I mean, the fact that in this bookstore, I mean, and words don't describe. Ellie, you have a very interesting, multifaceted background. You're a Cape Verdean, but you grew up in several countries in Europe, and you feel that when you walk into this store. You open the door, and there's like a breath of like the Swiss Alps mixed with a croissant from Paris, mixed with like this like Portuguese kind of like vibe, all like with a sprinkle of Cape Verdean. Like it really feels like an experience to walk into this cafe and to see this lineup of books that you would see in a section of the bookstore that allows you to grow and be who you want to be and see yourself and picture something bigger than you. And so I hope I did that a little bit of justice to describe the feeling in there. And so I can imagine dreaming of this, because we all dream of great big things. But as a professor of entrepreneurship, and as someone who has all this education, how do you make this dream a reality? How did you do this?
Absolutely. No, you beautifully describe the feeling, the experience you get from the bookstore. I honestly believe that we should be everything that we meant to be. So, as a Cape Verdean girl who was raised in Switzerland, Paris, France, and Portugal, and I have traveled probably close to 30 countries around the world, including India, Tanzania. So I really wanted to build something that it was authentic and it was also intentionally built for everyone. So the fact that I am here doing a podcast with Rockland Trust, which is an amazing bank, to talk to you guys about this project really reminds me how far we have reached, right? So I'm super grateful to be here. It was definitely a dream first, and I am a very ambitious person, as you can tell, but most importantly, I am probably the hardest working person you will ever meet. So I usually wake up between 2 and 3, between 2 to 3 a.m., not because I want to, but because I feel grateful for the opportunities I've been granted, right? So as I share with you briefly, I was raised by a single mom who had me at 17. And on a personal note, I grew up in poverty. So here I am studying in America, doing my PhD, started teaching at 24, looking 15, 18, and 15 years later, I am here at one of the most beautiful colleges in America, having my dream job and also run my dream company. So it takes a lot of work, and to be very honest and vulnerable, we bootstrapped our bookstore without much investment, no investment, I should say. It was with our very small savings and my very modest college professor. So honestly, it was the drive I had inside my heart to definitely make justice to my mom and all the sacrifice she made. So I was not the statistics, right? So I was not the daughter of a single mom who is also a young single mom again, right? So I became a mom at 32 after my PhD, my MBA, plenty of student loans for sure, and married to an amazing husband too. So I really wanted the world and another black girl, brown girl like me to see that it is possible to be so much more than the things we've been experiencing, right? So all of us, we come with stories, with traumas, with some serious, challenging experience we had in our lives. But I wanted to be so much more, because I honestly believe that if you put the work and you are willing to, to sacrifice and go for your dreams, you are able to build it. Of course, things are extremely difficult. I'm not sugarcoating this experience because it was difficult. It took us almost 2 years to open the bookstore with our own savings, and it was a lengthy, very challenging process. But I'm so glad we are here, and I'm so glad for the people we are meeting and for the projects and the initiatives, the opportunities, the collaborations, the partnerships, and this type of conversations and this type of reach, right? So I'm hoping that, girls around the world will hear this and see that, someone who has gone through the experience I've been through. And honestly, they were very serious, especially as a child that went through some very challenging situations, is able to, become a college professor at a very young age, build some amazing companies, because this is definitely not my first one, and be in place, meeting amazing people along the way, and build amazing initiatives to impact the world and to make this world an even better place. So that's definitely what keeps me going.
Yeah. And speaking of so for others listening who have a dream and have a vision and feel that same, when I speak to you, I feel that you really feel compelled to do this, to give back, to be present, and to be seen, and to to almost be seen, not to be admired in the way that oh, I want to be admired, but be seen as an inspiration so that others can follow your footsteps. So if people are listening who have those kind of dreams, what are some of the challenges over that 2 years building this business that you had to face and overcome?
Julie, I absolutely love how you beautifully describe how I wanted to be seen, right, as an inspiration, not as, a celebrity that somehow makes a younger generation feel that is almost unattainable, those positions. But no, I want so many other kids to be like me and so much more. For anyone with dream, I'll say dream as big as you can because it takes the same amount of work, to be quite honest. And the challenge are, research shows, right? It's definitely the lack of capital, but I would like to highlight also the lack of social capital, the network, Ryan, which was actually my whole entire PhD research. It was around the social capital, gender politics, and entrepreneurship, how women, minority communities, name it, can tap into entrepreneurship, leveraging, building the network that we often don't have. We don't come from families with financial assets, right? That could support our dreams and nor the network. So how can we be intentional about attending network events, about building relationships, about shaking hands, about introducing yourself? But before you even do that, think about the value you bring into the room, into this spaces, to this people you are meeting, right? So for me, it was definitely education. I really understood early on how transformative education can be and how it can open doors and give you the opportunity to meet and do things in a way that people see that you really mean and you know what you're talking about and how you are equipped, right, with resources and skills to do the things that you want to do. So definitely for me was education. I honestly felt that in order for me to be seen, to be listened to, and to be invited to, and to be given the opportunities that I dream about, I must show up as prepared as possible and with as much value as I can be. So I take extra steps to prepare myself for everything I do. And of course, I got a PhD and MBA because I'm also a hardworking person. So I'll say definitely the steps. How can you build yourself so you are seen and recognized as someone that brings value every time you speak, every time you show up, every time that you ask for opportunities, right? And also, how can you be intentional about building the network that you know that you don't have, right? Show up at events, give before you even ask, because the more you give, the more you receive. To be quite honest, I'm always asking how I can support your project, how I can support your role, how can I support you as my friend to be very soon. And then people see that, okay, this is not someone who's coming here asking for much because, people with value and assets get asked a lot of questions, right? And also, how can you also be brave and take extra steps to do further research to search for things that you know that you need, right? How can you be honest with the things that you actually lack, right? That may be skills, that may be, I don't know, access to anything, resources, research. I would say just be honest with the things that, not the things that you know, but the things that you don't know and go after them to learn more and equip yourself. So with more skills, yes.
Yeah, it seems like, building that social capital through kind of the levels of education and building that network and being so generous with your time and expertise also connects you to other generous people who also have expertise. And so having that broad vision, I can imagine has really broadened your learning even outside of the classroom.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I think I'm only able to, be this amazing educator because of the experience I have outside colleges and universities. And I'm very intentional about sharing stories, case studies with my students, and real life experience to supplement what we learn from textbooks, from simulations, from case studies, from theories and frameworks, and somehow teach our students how to apply the things that we learn in school and college, and how those things have worked for me, right? So sometimes when I'm teaching newer students, I'm often finding myself teaching them how to network, how to show up in events and introduce themselves, and how to even do basic things, how to dress, right? How to read, how to follow up with an email, and how to greet anyone before you even start speaking, right? So these are very important soft skills that we assume our children and our students know, but surprisingly, they don't know as much because, we are living in a digital technology, AI era, right? And those basic skills are often left behind because, it's just the world we live in. How can we take a couple steps back to ensure students are equipped with the soft skills? I'm hosting a couple interns from my partnership with Mass Hire. And one of the kids just texted me something like, "Oh, first I wanted to ask you this." And I was like, "Oh, what text message is this?" And then when I met him at the bookstore, and I was telling him like, "Hey, whenever you email or text anyone, especially someone who is not your friend, you always start by greeting us, right? Before you ask anything, before you even talk." So he was like, "Oh," he looked at me like, "Oh, never heard of that. How is this how people actually communicate?" I'm like, "Yes, that's how people communicate outside of friends and family." And his face, how he look, I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? Yes, basic soft skills.
And that's so amazing that you're in this position because of you're an entrepreneur, but you're also a professor. So you're in this position to kind of have that dual role where it's natural for you to be able to be that mentor or instructor, and it's not intrusive like lady, why are you telling me this? You know what I mean? It's more, instructional, and because these are things that people need to be told. And, just like, I talk all the time about financial education and how people need to be taught this because it's not talked about at homes, it's not taught in schools, but also these kind of social norms that we as kind of Americans, and I say that in quotes, like at least like corporate America or, building a business America, we expect that people will behave and communicate in a certain way. And then someone doesn't, and we have feelings about this and judgments about it and write people off for reasons that are really not significant because they just haven't been told. And yes.
And I absolutely love how you put it this. And I should also add, if you allow me, and we as mentors, as more experienced adults, we should take this moment as a learning opportunity. So how can I take a second of my time to teach this person that, when you do this, perhaps consider doing this way because your message come across a little kinder and also will be received as a professional, right? So I absolutely love how we are having this conversation. And if anything, I would say let's be a mentor every time an opportunity comes. And a mentor-mentee relationship doesn't need to be someone younger than us, but anyone who has experienced the things we have been so grateful to be granted. How can we take our moments to be generous and pass those experience and those knowledge and those learnings that we had? Because I am very a believer that we should share. Like if we don't share, how they will learn, how this moment will repeat again, and this person will perhaps have an opportunity to learn before he has a bad experience or before someone exclude him because it's not professional or it doesn't come across as we expect as often as we need, perhaps. So how can the challenge for me to putting out there in the world is that let's take every moment as a learning opportunity to be a mentor.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what do you have said that this is the first Dr. Ellie Paris Social Bookstore and Ice Cream Cafe. So what's next? Where's the second? And what's your vision? What's the dream, behind this?
Yes, we dream to be in every community in America. We know firsthand how transformative education is, and I'm a very innovative person. So I believe that we need to take a step further to inspire people to invest more in their education. And for me, it has been through the bookstore. And I have this framework that I often share with people that in order to empower people, we must think about this 4 E's that I am actually developing, which the first E stands for expose. How can we create opportunities to expose children, people, communities, low-income communities to the things we want, to do industries and the services and the skills that we know are important. So how can we create opportunities for them to be exposed to those things, right? And after they expose, how can we create meaningful ways for them to experience that industry and that those skills we want them to develop? And after they've been exposed to the experience, then they are able to explore because they've been equipped with skills and with the super powerful, should say, ways to do things, right? And lastly, only when they were able to be exposed to things, being able to experience and explore, they are able to excel. So for me, has been the way I see transformative things happening right before my eyes. So I'm trying to develop this framework further, and as a researcher, right, and ensure that we put it in place and we think about if we want to teach people about financial literacy. We cannot go through the classroom model kind of type of teaching anymore. It's just not enough. How can I ensure that my students are being exposed to actually that industry in real world and those skills in real situational things, right? And also it has been the framework that has allowed me to forgive people when I see them doing things they don't know, then they have never been exposed to, right? They have never experienced or nor explore how they are able to understand how to behave and react and somehow do the things that I'm expecting them to do because I've been able to definitely be exposed, experience, and explore, excel at it. So, and then you start to forgive people and you start to be humble and you start to look at those moments as learning opportunities every time. It's like, oh, I can see that this person was never exposed to this. So let me take a moment to do them to,
take a little break to do that. And so that you can, again, build that relationship, that social capital, that awareness, and elevate whoever you're talking to another level. That's awesome. And
you use the word elevate because that is the 5th E that I've been
look at that. I didn't even know it. So tell me the E's again.
Yes.
By the way, I have to say also that Dr. Ellie Paris-Miranda speaks 5 languages, yet somehow is like a poet with the English language. So tell me again the 4 or 5 E's.
So the first E is for being exposed. You must expose the person to the skills industry first. And after they're being exposed, they get to experience. They were there. They did it. They were there. They've seen it, right? And then after they've been exposed, they experience, then they get to explore because they're curious. They got the skills. They've been exposed. It's like, I gotta do something about it, with it, right? So, and after they explore, then they excel. And when you excel, is because you elevated yourself. You are elevating a community. You are elevating the next generation.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I really just feel like the social impact bookstore and cafe is really elevating an area, a community, a neighborhood, and different generations. I've been there a couple of times now, and anyone from older folks to everyday workers to children. It's just, it's a vibe you want to be a part of, and it's just really exciting. So before I get to my rapid questions, I also want to ask, what do you think makes an entrepreneur successful?
Besides the skills, of course, because this is something that can be learned, right? It has to be the drive. You have to want this more than anything because, it is hard. It takes time. And for a long time, you are completely broke,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you really have to have that drive. And that is something that you just got to ask yourself, is this something that I can live happily without doing it? Or is this something that perhaps if I'm dying tomorrow, would I be okay knowing that I didn't do this thing, right? So for me, it's those type of questions that drive me. I'm constantly thinking like, if I die tomorrow, how I want to be remembered. And for me, it has been always, I want to be remembered as someone who was brave enough to pursue even her biggest dreams without resource. So if Dr. Ellie was able to do that, why I am keeping my dream kind of dead, right?
Yeah. That's so interesting. It's amazing because I have an acting background and I pursued a degree in theater, and that was one of the biggest pieces of advice from others in the industry. They were like, only do this if it's the only thing that you can imagine yourself doing and that you are fully committed. Because if there is a piece of you that is hesitant, it is not worth it because it's too hard, because you'll be broke, because all of the reasons you just said. In your case, Dr. Ellie Paris-Miranda, it's paying off, if not in dividends yet, because I know it takes, yes, okay.
Forever,
Okay, it takes a long time. And you're how many months into this business?
I think in month 7 already.
Month 7, so it's still a little baby.
Yes.
So as a little baby, it needs a lot of care, yes, and a lot of visitors. So please go see Dr. Ellie Paris's social impact bookstore and ice cream cafe in Brockton. Look it up. Follow on Facebook. What are your handles and all the things? How do people get in touch with you and figure out how to get to your bookstore?
Yes, we dream to be in every community in America. So hopefully we will be in your community very soon. But we are located at 278 Main Street, Brockton. You can find us on social media. We also have a website that is being revamped right now. But you also feel free to email me anytime. I'm always about collaborations, partnerships, and to hear stories of amazing people doing amazing things as well, and how can we come together. So my private email, I should say, is Ellie.
Now it's public once you say
know.
it, so.
Yeah, it comes directly to me, Ellie.
Okay.
I'm saying not the school email.
Yeah.
Is Ellie at Dr. Dr. Ellie again, Ellie, Paris, like the city of France, Paris.com. Ellie at drellieparis.com. I would be thrilled to hear from you and to explore ways I can support you on your project as well.
Awesome. Well, that goes for all of us listening. This is so, just so awesome. I'm really excited to have more people be exposed to what you've created, to see this expand the way that you envision, and to kind of see how your 5 E's,
Yes.
expand within,
Yes.
the education or higher education community. Because, and when it comes to entrepreneurship, I think people do need that inspiration, that framework, those guidelines. And as a community, it's just so uplifting. So, all right, I'm going to get to my rapid questions. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
We're going to start with what is your favorite word?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Oh, I like it. Okay, great. That's a good one. What's your least favorite word?
Impossible. Oh, impossible. You cannot tell me anything is impossible because it is possible.
Okay. If your life had a theme song or like a walk-on song, like you were a baseball player, what would it be?
That's a hard one because, for me, it's like different moments require different songs.
Yeah.
Because I have traveled a lot. You find myself listen to Cape Verdean music and some Jamaican music as well, some Afro beats, but you find me to listen to my jazz at the bookstore. So I'll say it depends on the situation and the mood.
What is your most used emoji?
Oh, the hug. I'm a hugger.
Oh, you're a hugger?
No, I'm like serving hugs the whole time. You meet me, I'm like walking to you, trying to hug you. I used to hug. Yeah,
Okay, awesome.
And I'm intentionally, constantly rethink like, hey, who are you sending this to?
Right.
So someone is the first text message or the first thing. I'm like, girl, remove the hug and the stars. The stars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
That was a
awesome.
good question.
What gets you motivated to do the work you do?
Oh, now my 2 little girls.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
What prevents you from doing your work sometimes?
I'm going to be honest. I have this mindset that nothing prevents me from doing this. And we're talking about being on $0. I think the same amount. I think the same nothing. No, because I have built this and so much more. Gone through a PhD program in the US without any English skills, without money, without family members here. So nothing.
Speaking of, what is the best money advice you have ever received?
Surprisingly, I haven't received as many as I needed, especially when I needed the most. And just bringing back our conversation about being honest about the things that you don't know and the skills that you don't have. For me, was definitely after school and the amount of student loans I had, I was like, how I'm able to have credit and buy investments in buildings and houses and not knowing about credit.
What is money advice that you did receive that you wish you had never? Like some bad advice. Did you ever get any bad money advice?
I have to think because, we are on your podcast because we come from generations where we were not taught these things, but we forgive them because they were never exposed to this, right? So being very honest, I honestly self-taught myself everything, but perhaps the biggest advice I got, it was when I was buying my first home. And a couple of people told me like, oh, you should buy a 3-family at least. You have to have an investment property first before I bought my dream 1-family. So that perhaps was the best advice I got.
Okay. And lastly, can you give our listeners a challenge, something that they could start doing today that could maybe change their financial lives or their entrepreneurial spirit?
Okay. The challenge would be first, I'm a professor, I'm a reader, I'm a researcher. Go find one book about that one skills or that one dream or that one project that you've been wanting to do so much. That may be buy a house, open a bookstore, or start a career in arts and be sustainable because we are entrepreneurs. So I'll say find that one way of learning about it. That may be podcasts, a book, a website, an online certificate program, anything that you can start. And that may be your real estate license too. That may be going back to law school. How can I go back to law school? Because I'm in law school. How can I get my PhD? How can I go back to school now that my kids are grown? So think about that one thing you've been postponing because life happens. We know that that is that time. It is time to go after and go learn how you can do that the right way.
I love it. One book, one scoop, one community at a time. Of course, the professor recommends learning and going after that research material. Thank you, Dr. Ellie Paris-Miranda. This has been an amazing talk. Please go to Brockton, go to the bookstore and cafe, and dream big.
Absolutely.
Dream big. It's going to be work anyway, like you said, right?
Always. I appreciate you, Julie. Thank you so much for having me. This was so awesome.
Thanks, Ellie.
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Behind the Curtain, Money Made Simple. If you liked what you heard, if you learned something, subscribe, leave a review, and tell a friend, because good financial education deserves a standing ovation. And remember, you don't have to know all the steps before you take the stage. You just need the courage to show up, ask questions, and maybe, just maybe, sing a little bit along the way. I'm Julie Beckham, and Behind the Curtain, Money Made Simple is brought to you by Rockland Trust, member FDIC, the bank where each relationship matters, because we want you to have a healthy relationship with money at any age.